executes citizen for cannabis trafficking.
A very good evening to you and welcome to the news at 7 p.m. on NTA Channel 5 Abuja, the Unity Station. I am Nolene Ebel Ame with the news. We begin by telling you that the federal government has commenced documentation and movement of Nigerian students out of Sudan. This is coming as United Nations and other countries moved more than 1,000 of UN staff and other nationals out of the troubled zone. Musa Baba Aliu has an update on this.
From Khartoum, the capital of Sudan, to Aswan, Egyptian border is about 1,000 kilometers. That is the distance to be covered by these buses daily. Each will be carrying 60 students, including the elderly and women. So far, 150 of them in 10 buses are already on their way to Egypt, as at the time of this report. The Director General National Emergency Management Agency, Ahmed Mustafa Habib, says adequate arrangement has been put in place for the protection and security of Nigerians along transitway. He says arrangement has also been completed with the Nigerian-based airline, Air Peace, that will airlift the Nigerians from Egypt free of charge. Multiple nations have scrambled to evacuate embassy staff and citizens by road, air and sea from Sudan, where fighting between the army and paramilitaries has killed hundreds and led to acute shortages of water, food, medicine and fuel.
It is important that the world stands with the people of Sudan to provide the resources that are required for humanitarian organizations to ramp up emergency response and humanitarian assistance to the people in need. One life lost in Sudan is a life too many.
A Royal Air Morocco flight carrying 136 Moroccan nationals evacuated from Sudan arrived at Casablanca International Airport this Thursday. This is coming as Chinese Navy ships sent to rescue citizens from the conflict-hit Sudan have also evacuated nationals from 5 other countries. The first batch of 678 people evacuated by the Chinese team arrived at port in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, by ship on Thursday morning. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Similarly, the first batch of stranded Nigerians in Sudan evacuated by the federal government will arrive Abuja on Friday, barring any unforeseen circumstances. This cheering news was given at a State House briefing by Honorable Abike Dabrerewa, Chairman and CEO, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCAM. She said a total of 13 out of the 40 buses hired to transport Nigerians from the troubled Sudan already left since Wednesday and moved by road to border town of Aswan in Egypt, where both the embassy staff in Egypt and the DG NEMA will receive the evacuees. 10 of those buses transported Nigerians from universities in Khartoum, while the remaining 3 buses were dispatched to El Razi University to convert them to the border town in Egypt. On allegations of segregation and discrimination in the evacuation process, she explained that children and women were given priority as they were profiled for administrative purposes. The chairman added that a Boeing 777 from Air Peace will depart Lagos by this evening and will transport the first batch home on Friday. She assured all Nigerians that all those who registered to be evacuated home will all be facilitated irrespective of status, gender, and state. Back home, the Raw Materials Research and Development Council says Nigeria is making progress in the area of raw materials sourcing, development, and utilization as industrial inputs. The council disclosed this during a media tour of its facilities, showcasing the public some of its efforts and breakthroughs in local content development and innovation in Nigeria. Ifeoma Ojinta has more.
Acknowledging that no nation can grow because she has a quantum of untapped raw materials, the Raw Materials Research and Development Council is committed to ensuring that Nigeria has a sustainable source of economic development through the development of the country's raw materials.
The Raw Materials Research and Development Council has done a lot of work, especially in articulating existing raw materials in their entirety, in their forms, that can be useful to the industrial sector.
Showcasing efforts made towards attaining industrial development, the council took journalists around its facilities, including the Resource Center. This is like a showroom where most raw materials are displayed in their forms and their many uses. Next port of call was the ISO-certified testing center used in building raw materials to meet the specification of the global markets.
In this laboratory, we have so many equipment. We also have sections where we have to carry out analysis both for the mineral and agro natural resources.
And finally, the Professor Hussaini Ibrahim Technology Demonstration Center, where actual processing and production of these raw materials into finished products take place.
We are serving the industrial sector, the manufacturers. They have been coming here and they have seen what we have done and they are so happy about it.
The Director General, Raw Materials Research and Development Council, Professor Hussaini Ibrahim represented, notes that these breakthroughs will go a long way to reduce importation.
This is a hope for the SMEs, especially those people that are engaged in adding value. We are giving hope to the manufacturing sector in Nigeria. We want them to increase their contribution to GDP.
Aside that, the council hopes to see youths in the nearest future go into manufacturing with the possibilities of exporting anything apart from oil. Ifoma Ojinta, NTA News.
And talking education now, the West African Examination Council and the FCT Education Resource Center have resolved to maintain zero tolerance to examination malpractice during the forthcoming senior secondary certificate examination. This position was reiterated during the briefing of principals and supervisors on the conduct of examination. Hadiza Godwin Ebune reports that candidates were represented at the briefing.
The determination and commitment to totally eradicate all forms of examination malpractice in schools across the 36 states and the FCT is in top gear, as the FCT Education Resource Center and the West Africa Examination Council have come together to brief school principals, supervisors, invigilators, and also candidates on the conduct of the forthcoming senior secondary certificate examination. The briefing brought out a number of issues, which the examination body points is a fallout of a thorough investigation to unearth the primary cause of examination malpractice by any area school.
The objective is to kind of brief the supervisors and principals on the do's and don'ts of the conduct of the examination by achieving a successful conduct of the WAEC throughout the FCT. So, and we also need to reiterate the fact that the FCT as an academic center does not tolerate any exam malpractice.
Before, we used to have these collusion cases. Majorly, that's one of the major problems, collusion, where students will copy, they meet together, they dictate answers for them to write, and coming in with mobile phones. That is now reducing because of the sensitization programs we've been having.
Stakeholders say on their part, they will continue to provide an enabling environment for candidates and also encourage parents to participate in the educational development of their children, as quality education is the best legacy they can bequeath the children.
They should ensure strict supervision, monitoring and supervision of their schools whenever examination is going on. And I think that is the only way examination malpractice could be caught.
I learned that if you involve yourself in examination malpractice, you can be sanctioned, and it won't help you because you are not building yourself in that act.
I learned of the implications, sanctions of examination malpractice, and what we should do in order to be able to pass our exams.
The examination body stressed need to go back and strategize using the education law with thorough investigation to ensure the total eradication of examination malpractice in school. Hadiza Godwin Ebuni, NTA News.
In other news, Nigeria's 2023 National Population and Housing Census kicks off in less than 2 weeks. Hawa Gimba reports that the Federal Commissioner, National Population Commission, FCT, Joseph Shajin Kwali, gives highlights as he speaks on NTA Current Affairs program issues.
The 2023 National Population and Housing Census is said to be the first digital census that will change how census is being conducted in Nigeria. Federal Commissioner, National Population Commission, FCT, Joseph Shajin Kwali highlights the importance of the exercise, which will give room for more developments in Nigeria.
The President saw the need to conduct a credible census so that we will, the doubt that has always been around us will be put to rest, because in some places it's embarrassing. When they ask you, even as a population personnel, what is the population of Nigeria? You will say it is around, you know. So we don't need to be estimating like that. Let us have an accurate, genuine figure.
He speaks further on demarcation and enumeration of areas.
What we expect is for maximum cooperation from the people, and the people should also be truthful with the information they are going to give.
The Federal Commissioner, Joseph Shajin Kwali, however, stresses that the exercise will give relevance to Nigerians' economy, political, and socio-cultural planning. Hawagimba, NTA News.
And on health news, the need for nurses to ensure improved service delivery in hospitals has again been brought to the fore. This was at a 2-day national seminar organized by the Forum of Directors of Nursing Services in Nigeria. Onoze Yakubu completes the story.
Grounded in their scope of practice, nurses are trained to provide appropriate and scientifically sound first-level care, and for Nigerian nurses to build public trust in their service to humanity, especially at their primary duty post, dominated discussion at this stakeholders forum in Abuja. Secretary for Health and Human Services Secretariat, Dr. Abubakar Tafida, emphasizes the need for Nigerian nurses to be alive to their responsibilities in hospitals in order to portray the country's image in good light. He pledges the FCT administration's drive of addressing gray areas that will strengthen the health sector.
We are taking an overall view of using technology to improve in the diagnosis of the problems of our patients, in easing the process of seeing our patients, in easing admission, in easing doing some investigations, especially in radiology and laboratory, and also in even doing some surgical interventions. So this is a coordinated approach.
The Registrar Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria, Dr. Farouk Abubakar, harps on the need for nurses in both public and private sectors to render services that will meet the yearnings and aspirations of the people.
During this administration, community nursing and midwifery was also introduced, all aim to provide accessible manpower at the grassroots in order to provide the needed nursing and midwifery care, all aim to reduce the higher and maternal and infant mortality rate in this country.
If we can reorganize our institutions, our health institutions, in which the directors in every state of Nigeria will have a template to work with as a director and be accountable for the working environment of nurses.
Participants drawn from the 36 states and the FCT are, however, optimistic that the workshop will reawaken their consciousness to the enormous task ahead of them. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
Let's join our foreign desk for the Globe this week.
Hello, welcome to The Globe This Week, a foreign news segment that offers unique perspective on some stories that made headlines this week. I am Ifani Izumba. As foreign diplomats evacuate Sudan in the midst of fierce fighting, millions of civilians are being left behind to survive as best as they can, leaving many frustrated at what they see as an armed conflict between previously Western-backed generals. Sudanese analysts and activists who spoke to Al Jazeera blamed Western officials for emboldening and legitimizing the paramilitary rapid support forces led by Mohammed Hamdan, Hemeti Dagalo, and the army under Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. The two men embroiled in a deadly armed conflict since April 15, according to the International Crisis Group. The catalyst for the armed struggle terrorizing Sudan was a Western-conceived agreement that was signed on December 5th, ostensibly to restore a civilian administration after the RSF upended the country. Singapore on Wednesday executed a man convicted of drug trafficking. A representative for his family said, despite plea from his relatives and activists in 2013 of more than 1 kilogram, 2.2 pounds of cannabis, double the threshold for the city-state, which is known for its tough laws on narcotics. Kokila Anamalai, a Singapore-based human rights activist representing the family, confirmed Sapaya had been executed by hanging after the president had rejected plea for clemency on the eve of the execution. Family members of political detainees in Tunisia have submitted a request to the European Union to sanction President Kais Saied and other top-ranking Tunisian officials. The request filed by British lawyer Rodney Dixon on behalf of the families accuses Tunisian officials of gross and persistent human rights violations. The lawyer said what had been unfolding in Tunisia since July 2021 is a spiraling decline into worse and worse violations of fundamental freedoms and rights. That's it on The Globe This Week. Stay for the rest of the news.
Yau dai ga Balarabe. Balarabe! Balarabe! Video ne ai, na video. Na washe video ne. Ya sami kyautar garabasar global rakete. Sai ko ya fara amfani da social media da bai san kansa ba cikin farin ciki. Browsing yake yana ta tattauna da jama'a, yana saka hotunan kayayyakinsa na kasuwanci gatsau. Ya tafka kuskure don ko ya saka hoton matarsa haɗe da kayayyakinsa na kasuwanci yana tallata a social media.
Na too much berekete kosa.
Berekete, samu kyautar naira 600 na lokacin kira tare da garabasan kashi 700 akan duk caji da kuma har kashi 100 na duk tsarin data da kake aka yi.
The pain of war knows no tribe or religion. War engulfs everyone, rich or poor. Homes are destroyed, emptied by the darkness of war. During war, everybody loses, nobody wins. The innocent pays the price of our ego with their blood. They are badly affected by a decision they didn't make. Dialogue is the only way out. We are stronger together, we should never separate. We are one Nigeria. Our oneness, our strength, our beauty.
Sports Brief is next.
President Nigeria's Referee Association NRA Otumba Tade Aziz has revealed that the Nigerian Professional Football League and Nigerian National League are owing the body over 600 million naira being unpaid referees indemnity in the last 4 years. Tade was speaking while refuting claims of allegations of the body's Saturday's election in Ilorin, Kwara State. Elsewhere, league leaders Arsenal went down 4-1 on Wednesday night at the Etihad Stadium, which further dealt a blow to their long-awaited English Premier League title dream. The citizens showed class and dominance in the game that saw Kevin De Bruyne scored twice, with Stones and Haaland completing the damage to Mikel Arteta's Gunners, who are still topping.
All right, that's the much we can take on the sports brief, and that concludes the English version of the news. Next is translations. I am Norlene Evelhame. Do have a lovely night rest.
Magbaje we sha we wona wana ba sha ba da wo mu praise wa yuba wona wa gwana ba je gai anabaja sida inga gwamnati la fita mana la kwa ku yi aza mba gbefilo nje Sudan kin ntu okunbo Sudan kin kwa isin ogodo ba nga abi anya muti ta je chetu shitnu alaba kun Sudan kin alaba Egypt na pa apia ba mba da kin nje ya Musa Baba Ali wada inga gwamnati na do na kin sin na anya ba mutu atete je bai bala so ba la pata bana la washi ba je ba la kwa guga ba zeza hai azapui wo ba wi nge ayaka motoka na do na banu kweji na nyaba mutuka nko balayin hadiza Godwin ebune wada nge gbedogun ekwo kwada bala da ni sanu ko beji nge yeji antwe won baya na sana gban ko kan ba wi a mba gin abi atnubo mba ta shin abanu kweji na nyaba mutuka nko balayin amagba je beje wo nsu shekwasi won fi na gbada saiso.
Masu kallo da sauraron mu assalamu alaikum, barkanmu da sake saduwa ga takaitattun fasarar labaranmu na yau mai karantawa Yusuf Yakub. Bayan barkewar yaƙi a ƙasar Sudan wanda ya ritsa da 'yan Najeriya mazauna ƙasar, wakilinmu Musa Babala ya shaida mana cewa gwamnatin tarayya tuni ta fara aikin kwaso ɗaliban Najeriya a makarantun Sudan zuwa gida. Hakan ya biyo bayan nasarar da Majalisar Ɗinkin Duniya da sauran ƙasashe suka samu ta kwaso 'yan kasashensu daga kasar da ake ta lugudan wuta a halin da ake ciki yanzu. Hukumar shirya jarabawar kammala karatun sakandare da ɗaliban kasashen wato ta ɗaliban kasashen Afirka ta yamma WAEC da hukumar ilimi ta birnin tarayya Abuja sun yanke hukuncin cewa ba za su daga kafa ba wajen satar amsa a jarabawar bana da za a rubuta. Wakilar Hadiza Godin Ibn ta haɗo mana rahoto cewa sun bayyana haka ne a lokacin taron da shugabannin makarantun da malaman duba jarabawa suka yi akan yadda za su tabbatar da cewa ɗalibai ba su yi ha'inci a jarabawar da za su rubuta ba bana. Abin da ya sauka kenan a labaranmu ne, sai da safen ku.
nọ n'akụkọ ụwa nke taa, aha m bụ Rachel Ifi Olu. Gere akụkọ ụwa n'uju ya. Gọọmenti ala anyị amalitela ịma akwụkwọ na ịkpọpụta ụmụ amaala anyị site na mba Sudan. Musa Baba Ali wetara akụkọ na ha na-eme nke a n'ihi na mba jikọtara mba ụwa niile UN nakwa mba ndị ọzọ akpọpụla ọtụtụ ndị ọrụ UN na ndị ọzọ site na ya bụ mba jupụtara na nsogbu. Onye isi n'ụlọ ọrụ na-ahụ maka ihe mberede mekwara ka anyị mata na ha etinyela ihe niile n'usoro site na iwepụta ụgbọelu ga-ebupụta ha n'efu. Ụlọ ọrụ na-ahụ maka WAEC nakwa ụlọ ọrụ na-ahụ maka ule na akụrụngwa ndị eji ele ule ekwuola na ha agaghị anabata mpụ ule mgbe a na-ele ule WAEC nke afọ a. Hadiza Godwin Ebune wetara akụkọ na nke a pụtara ihe mgbe ha na ndị isi ụlọ akwụkwọ na ndị nkụzi niile ga-elekọta ule were nzukọ bụ nke ha jiri leba anya na ihe banyere ule WAEC. ha dukwara ụmụ akwụkwọ na ndị nne na nna ọdụ ka ha gbaa mbọ hụ na ha sonyere n'ịkwalite ọnọdụ agụmakwụkwọ n'ala anyị. Igbo gere m ntị, ebe a ka anyị pịachiri nke taa. Ndewo.
Ẹkú kalẹ̀ o, ẹ̀sìnkú dédé wòyí ìròyìn iléeṣẹ́ amóhùnmáwòrán ìkànnì Kánò ti ìlú Àbújá ló ń dé sí etí ìgbọ̀nyín láti ẹnu Mọ́bọ́lájí Mátì. Bí orílẹ̀-èdè gbogbo ṣe ń kó àwọn ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè wọn kúrò ní orílẹ̀-èdè Sudan tí rògbòdìyàn ti bẹ́ sílẹ̀, alákòjọpọ̀ ìròyìn wa Musa Baba Aliyu ròyìn wípé ìjọba orílẹ̀-èdè wa náà ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ àti kó àwọn ọmọ wa tó wà lórílẹ̀-èdè náà padà bọ̀ sílé bí àjọ àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè tó wà nínú ìrẹ́pọ̀ tí a mọ̀ sí United Nations lédè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì ti kó àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ rẹ̀ tó lé lọ́gọ́rùn-ún nítorí pé kójúmàrè bí gbogbo ara ní oògùn rẹ̀. Abala kìíní àwọn ọmọ wa yóò gúnlẹ̀ sí orílẹ̀-èdè yìí ní ọ̀la òde yìí. Àjọ ìgbìmọ̀ ètò ìdánwò ìwọ̀ oòrùn ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀ fún àṣekágbá ilé ẹ̀kọ́ girama tí a mọ̀ sí West African Examination Council lédè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì ti fìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan pẹ̀lú iléeṣẹ́ tó